Hello, welcome back to Auto Pop Culture. Today we're going over the Bay Area based singer called Ieuan and his first or second album, I should say, called A Study in ANTE MERIDIEM. So this is I want to say it's the second album because technically he had a shit ton of albums beforehand, and then they all kind of came into one album, which was Technicolor Volume 1, came out in 2019. And then he released Sweet Boy, which I also reviewed. It came out in 2020, which was an EP. And it seems like, from what I'm gathering, he has been having a, not management problem, a record deal problem, or record company problem. For some reason, it seems because he had like 3 albums out when I first got into him. He had Pink Suburbia, Saint California, Over the Garden Wall. All those came in between 2016 and 2018, and then they disappeared. And I was like, "What just happened? What just happened?" And then popped up was reappeared what came back was a Technicolor Volume 1, and I was like, okay, so seems like it's like all the hits from those last albums, but it's kind of like a greatest hits. And then he moves on to Sweet Boy, which gives you a different type of sound. I wasn't a huge fan of it. It seemed like he wasn't a huge fan of it either, because when I post about it and saying like, I couldn't really feel it, and I remember him responding as like, yeah, same. So it makes me think that maybe he was having a Tinashe issue where they weren't giving him the space to be more creative. Didn't want to do what he wanted to do, which is a very common thing that happens in the music industry, especially when you're a new artist and you're just starting out, or when you move from one record deal to another one, and then they want to change up how you do stuff, or you're like, I want to do it this way. And they're like, that's not really a commercially appropriate for you to do kind of thing. But it seems like it seems like he went from fuck it, I'm going independent, and he did. And this is literally, I'm so proud of him for this album. This is a really good album. It's so vulnerable, it's so good, it's organized. The music is elevated because I felt like his first 3 albums that were part of the Technicolor Volume 1 thing, they were good. They were good albums. I like those albums. They were very commercial, but I did like the sound, and it definitely showed a lot of his vocal range. And Sweet Boy kind of felt like it was a kind of very gimmicky, but then this feels right. This feels right. With this whole direction of doing this hyper pop direction, it feels like it was meant to be that sound for him. I do not understand where in the world, like, he thought, biggest point is I'm so glad he's independent, because it definitely shows that he gets to do what he wants to do. In this album, we go through 2 parts. So the first part, we're talking about the void, him being in a very dark space, and he's really going through it for the first 5 songs, and the thing that I love about this is that it hits home with a lot of things for me personally, but also for, I feel like, a lot of other people that have gone through this themselves. But I never really hear. But it feels like on this first half, he sinks deep into how he feels. There's no resolution in the end. There's none in this part. There's none in this part. It's just him feeling all of his feelings, and I love it. I love it so much. You start off with Void, which has Lorraine Williams, which I can assume is his mom, talking about his possible Adderall addiction and the fact that he has demons, she has demons, but encouraging him that you're going to get through this. We're going to figure out how to work this out, but we're going to get it through. And it goes into Mirror, which is one of my favorite songs. I love the hyper pop in this. Just talking about being depressed and not really looking in the mirror and not even know who the person's looking at him, kind of thing. And that's how deep he is. And then he mentions one part, one day I'll find my own house up in the sky. And that's a nice little throwback to, what's the word? can't really think of the word. Anyway, it's a nod to a unreleased song that didn't get released, but stay tuned for that. But this song just talks about being depressed and being in that space where you don't recognize yourself because you're so far in that hole. Leaving Me to Die is the next one I really like as well. So I love it. So vulnerable. Talking about the idea, just like he knows he needs help. He knows that he needs to kind of open himself to other people so they can help him out. And showing from Lorraine saying it herself, just like, you don't hide things from me. Like, let me feel it, because if I don't know, I don't know, kind of thing. But we go into this space where he actually talks about why he doesn't do that. And it's because he doesn't want to be a burden to a lot of people, and to the point where he even thinks his friends don't like him, and so he removes himself from his friends just so they don't have to deal with the turmoil that's going on with him inside. Possibly either his friends are dicks to the point where it's just like, oh, we don't like you, we don't want to be around you dealing with your shit, or it's in his imagination that they are against him, so he removes himself without really knowing how they actually feel. As he says, and I know my friends hate me. They don't say it, but I know it. So I cut myself off to save them all the work. Definitely know how that feels, and I definitely feel like that's such a great part of the song. I love it. From Below, we're going deeper into it. This one talks about the idea of just being, just having this shadow that's coming up, and you can feel it just pulling itself in, just getting itself comfortable right in his mind space. He says, I feel it coming in the shadows from below. And then it goes into, what's a little bittersweet without a prayer? When I tell myself to breathe, I run out of air. I forgot how the ba-da-da part goes, but I really, 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 really love that part. This one's more kind of dancey, leaning of a hyper pop direction, and then it goes into one of the lead songs or singles to this album, I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. Just once again, another space where he's just this is his last bit of just letting out all this anger and angst and sadness and just all of this. Like, he can tell from this song, he's like, I don't want to feel this. I don't want to be in this space just as much as other people probably don't want me to be in that space. And I'm so frustrated over it that I just want to scream, but I have no mouth. So maybe what he means in that direction, I want to scream, but I also don't want to be the burden to people to hear me scream so they know I have a problem or something like that. I feel like that's what he's saying in that. Very, very, very PC music, hyper pop in the beginning, and then it switches up into this dance production, club dance like production. That's so great. I love it. This song was a great thing. Like, I remember the first time I heard it, I was like, yes, this is it. After that talk about the Sweet Boy, this is completely it. Going into part 2, which is called Morning. Now, it seemed like he was trying to explain what this meant, and it was a lot of, so yeah, and it's like, yeah. But I think from gathering what he's saying and then listening to the song, it's pretty much him going into the light. He sees the darkness behind him, he sees the darkness in all corners, but there's a door, and it usually isn't open, but finally it opens and he can see the light through it, and goes right through. So this is finally on that other side where he's in a better space and he's feeling better. So he goes into In and Out, which is a really good song. This one talks about feeling good and wanting to keep the feeling going, but he doesn't know who he needs to thank for this. Like, how is he feeling this way? He's questioning a lot of this, which makes a lot of sense of being in a depressed space, and then you're coming out of it and you start feeling good. That's very unfamiliar to certain people in that space. And so when you do feel good, you're just like, what is this? What is this? Not trusting it, questioning it all up and down about it. But in the end of it, he says, in and out, I tell myself that I'm all right. And he's taking a moment to feel all these feelings of feeling good, because he loves it and he wants it to last. Going into Thank You is another still grateful over this feeling. And he thanks the angel that he feels like that helped him out in that space. Just a really good song. going into about from and from above, which I felt like I was kind of confused on exactly what it meant, because it felt like he was feeling so good, and then this song kind of felt like he went backwards a bit, because it talked about, like, it says, the light from above, it's calling my name. Someone, Genius Lyric says, help me now. But it sounds like he's saying, tell me now, or I will walk away. I didn't know what that meant. Or I will walk away might be suicidal. I'm not sure if that's what he's talking about in that space. It's like, I just want to be, somebody help me, or else I'm just gonna kill myself, I guess. It's very dark in that space, if it's about that. Or I completely could be off. I really don't know. But that's my point of not really understanding what that song meant. I do like the song, but don't understand what it means. And finally, the last song, House in the Sky, the song that was supposed to be on his 2019 EP called Child Star, and now it's on here because he's what? Independent. And who gets to tell him what to do? No one but him. And I'm so happy that he finally got to have this and show this on a official studio production. I love it. I love it. It's a good song. It's very beautiful. His vocals do really well in this. Do I know what it's about entirely? Kind of no. But I feel like the idea is that it also feels very like he's going to heaven in a weird way. And I don't know if it's like going to heaven metaphorically or literally going to heaven. I don't really know where he's going with that. But I love this. I do like the song. The vocals are great. He's doing a great job. It ends. There's a heavenly message that floats through the whole album, and I feel like this ends it really nicely. Yeah, but other than those last two songs, I kind of had to figure out exactly what it meant from the metaphors and everything. I am so proud of this album. I'm so happy for him that he is independent, good on him, and I'm so happy that he finally can have this space to do what he wants, talk about what he wants to talk about, and he obviously this is exactly where he needed to be, because this production is so great. It's a great production, great lyrics, great messages, great order in how he worked this organization in this album. I completely love it. I'll give it a 9 out of 10 because of those songs I didn't really understand, but I really think this is a great direction for him. I'm so happy for him. That's pretty much it. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe button, notification bell. If you have a favorite song from him, let me know in the comments below. If you like this album, let me know too. If you didn't, also let me know. So anyway, that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.